Welcome, dear viewers, to a place where shadows whisper and fear takes hold. Tonight, we plunge headfirst into the abyss of the unexplained, the unsettling, the deeply disturbing. Yes, my friends, prepare yourselves as we unravel three tales so chilling, so unsettling, they'll leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Stories whispered in the dead of night, passed from soul to soul, each one more eerie than the last. If you dare to join us on this journey into the heart of darkness, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and click that notification bell. Your nightmares might depend on it. Our first tale takes us to a quiet suburban street, a place where life seemed ordinary, at least on the surface. Imagine a neighborhood much like yours, where children play on manicured lawns and neighbors exchange pleasantries over white picket fences. This is where Sarah lived, a young woman who found comfort in the routine of her daily life, the familiar faces she'd see on her morning jog, a quick wave to Mr. Henderson next door as he tended his roses. Mr. Henderson, a seemingly harmless old man, always polite, always with a kind word. But something changed. Sarah noticed it first as a subtle shift, a darkness creeping into Mr. Henderson's usually bright eyes. His smile, once warm and inviting, now seemed strained, his gaze distant and unsettling. Days passed, and Mr. Henderson's peculiar behavior escalated. His curtains remained drawn even during the day, and the once immaculate lawn grew wild and unkempt. The sweet scent of roses was replaced by the fetid odor of decay, a chilling harbinger of something deeply wrong. Then, just as quickly as his demeanor shifted, Mr. Henderson vanished. One day he was there, a specter lurking behind dusty windows. The next, he was gone, vanished without a trace. Concerned, Sarah contacted the authorities. Police arrived, their initial dismissiveness quickly fading as they too noticed the strange state of Mr. Henderson's home. The air inside was stale, thick with the silence of abandonment. Dust covered every surface, and a thick layer of grime coated the furniture, as if the house had been left untouched for years. But something wasn't right. Despite the outward appearance of long-term neglect, there were no signs of forced entry, no cobwebs, no telltale signs of an intruder. It was as if time itself had warped within those walls, accelerating decay while leaving no trace of the missing man. Days turned into weeks, the investigation leading to one dead end after another. Mr. Henderson's name yielded no results in any database, no social security number, no driver's license, no birth certificate. It was as if he never existed. The house remained empty, a haunting reminder of the man who vanished into thin air. Sarah, once comforted by the normalcy of her surroundings, now found herself plagued by a chilling question. Who was Mr. Henderson, and what became of him? The answer, lost in a labyrinth of unsettling clues, remained just out of reach, a chilling testament to the darkness lurking beneath the surface of the ordinary. Our next story takes us into the cramped and often unsettling world of student housing, where the pursuit of knowledge collides with the unsettling realization that privacy can be a fragile illusion. Imagine the scene, a dimly lit hallway, the smell of instant ramen and stale beer lingering in the air, the muffled sounds of a late-night study session echoing through thin walls. This is where Emily, a bright-eyed college freshman, found herself living in a shared apartment, her excitement at the prospect of independence tempered by the realities of a tight budget. Her roommate, Jessica, seemed pleasant enough, if a little withdrawn, their interactions limited to polite nods and the occasional shared pot of coffee. As weeks passed, Emily began to notice a series of unsettling occurrences. Food would go missing from the refrigerator, a half-eaten sandwich here, a carton of yogurt there. At first, she dismissed it as her own forgetfulness, but as the incidents persisted, a seed of doubt began to grow in her mind. Small objects, a hairbrush left on the bathroom counter, a textbook on the kitchen table, would inexplicably shift positions when Emily wasn't looking. The unsettling feeling that someone, or something, was intruding on her life intensified, transforming her once welcoming apartment into a claustrophobic prison of paranoia. One evening, Emily returned home to find her room in disarray. Drawers were pulled open, their contents strewn across the floor, her bed linens tossed aside in a haphazard manner. Fear gripped her heart, cold and suffocating. This was no longer the work of a forgetful roommate. Someone had been in her room, rifling through her belongings, violating her sanctuary. Confronting Jessica, Emily was met with a cold and unwavering denial. Jessica claimed to have been at the library all day, her alibi corroborated by a classmate. Emily was torn between relief that her roommate wasn't responsible and the growing terror that something sinister was unfolding around her. Driven by a desperate need for answers, Emily searched the apartment, her eyes scanning every nook and cranny, her heart pounding in her chest. It was then that she noticed it. A faint scratching sound coming from the ceiling, a barely audible whisper from the attic above. Armed with a flashlight and a growing sense of dread, Emily cautiously climbed the creaking steps to the attic. Dust motes danced in the beam of her flashlight, revealing a space crammed with forgotten furniture and shrouded in an eerie silence. As she moved deeper into the attic, the scratching sound grew louder, more insistent. And then she saw him. Huddled in a shadowy corner, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and defiance, was a man, his clothes ragged, his face caked with dirt. He was homeless, a desperate soul seeking refuge in the only shelter he could find. The scratching sound, Emily realized with a shudder, was the sound of him trying to pry open a loose floorboard to gain access to the apartment below. The discovery sent a wave of terror and revulsion through Emily. For weeks, this man had been living in the attic, a silent observer to her every move, a phantom presence lurking just out of sight. The missing food, the moved objects, the ransacked room, it all made sense now, painting a terrifying picture of vulnerability and the fragility of personal space. Emily's sense of security was shattered, leaving her to grapple with the haunting realization that sometimes the greatest threats come from within. Chapter 3. The Watcher. Our final tale tonight takes us inside the walls of a seemingly ordinary family home, a place where love and trust should provide a shield against the darkness. But sometimes, the most terrifying monsters wear the mask of normalcy, their true nature concealed beneath a veneer of charm and helpfulness. The Thompson family, like many others, found themselves facing the challenges of caring for an aging parent. Their father, once a vibrant and active man, was now confined to a wheelchair, his mind slowly succumbing to the ravages of dementia. Desperate for help, they hired a live-in caretaker, Ms. Evelyn Wright, who came highly recommended. Ms. Wright, with her warm smile and gentle demeanor, seemed like the answer to their prayers. She quickly established a rapport with Mr. Thompson, providing a much-needed respite for the exhausted family. But as the days turned into weeks, unsettling incidents began to plague the Thompson household. Objects would be found moved, a picture frame slightly askew, a chair out of place. At first, they dismissed these occurrences as mere accidents. Then came the notes. Strange, cryptic messages scrawled on scraps of paper, found tucked away in drawers, left on countertops, hidden beneath pillows. The notes were unsettling in their vagueness, filled with cryptic phrases and ominous warnings. "They are watching," one note read. "You are not safe," proclaimed another. The family, now deeply disturbed, suspected that Mr. Thompson, in his confused state, might be responsible for the strange messages. However, their concern for his well-being quickly morphed into outright fear when they discovered that he was becoming increasingly agitated, his sleep plagued by nightmares. Determined to get to the bottom of the increasingly bizarre happenings, the family installed hidden cameras throughout the house. What they witnessed on those recordings chilled them to the core. Ms. Wright, their trusted caretaker, was not who she seemed to be. The cameras captured Ms. Wright engaging in a series of disturbing behaviors. She would spend hours at night, long after Mr. Thompson was asleep, standing in the hallway outside his room, her ear pressed against the door, listening intently. She would rearrange furniture in the dead of night, her movements slow and deliberate. But the most terrifying revelation came when the family watched the footage from the camera hidden in the living room. The footage showed Ms. Wright, her back to the camera, seated at the computer, her fingers flying across the keyboard. As they watched in horror, the family realized that Ms. Wright was not simply browsing the internet. She was compiling a dossier on them. Photos of the family, taken from social media, were meticulously organized into folders. Personal information, addresses, Phone numbers, even financial records were all there, laid bare for Ms. Wright to peruse at her leisure. The notes, the moved objects, the cryptic messages. It all suddenly made horrifying sense. Ms. Wright had been watching them, studying them, meticulously documenting their every move, all while maintaining her facade of normalcy. The family, their sense of security shattered, confronted Ms. Wright, her carefully constructed mask of sanity crumbling as they revealed the evidence of her disturbing activities. Panicked and enraged, Ms. Wright lashed out, her true nature revealed in a torrent of threats and accusations. In the end, Ms. Wright was apprehended, her motives remaining a chilling mystery. The Thompson family, forever scarred by the experience, was left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, haunted by the knowledge that the most terrifying monsters are often the ones hiding in plain sight. And so, my friends, we reach the end of our journey into the darkness, our minds reeling from the unsettling possibilities that lurk just beyond the veil of our everyday lives. These tales, though fictional, serve as chilling reminders that the line between reality and nightmare can be terrifyingly thin. If you found yourself captivated by these disturbing narratives, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow horror enthusiasts, and subscribe to this channel for more spine-chilling content. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a descent into the abyss. Until next time, sleep tight, and remember, the nightmares are always closer than you think.